Welcome back. Always a delight and perfect timing for us to have back with us today Megan Barth. There she is. She's an independent journalist. She's an activist. I don't know when she sleeps, and she's spot on. And always an honor to have her. Megan, good to see you. And that
Great.
smile, it's probably been there for, what, 30 hours now?
Well, actually, since November.
Well, listen, this is, I was looking at the pardons and the executive orders. They're literally too many to count. It's pretty amazing. It's just what's going on. So what did you think of President Trump's speech in that room with those who he were talking about was less than 3 feet away from him?
Yeah, if I was there, I would have been handing out Band-Aids and bandages to the Clintons, the Obamas, the Bidens, the Harrises. I mean, he just took a whipsaw, and rightfully so. He didn't go over the top. It wasn't too pointed, but it was definitely directed. Everybody in that room and watching knew exactly what he was talking about, especially when he says the golden era is upon us, and basically the malaise of the last 4 years, the travesty of the last 4 years is going to be behind us and, you know, relegated to the dust bins of history. So, and that's rightfully where the Biden administration and his legacy belong. You know, so much for a legacy for the Biden family now that they all have preemptive pardons. That's basically an admittance of guilt, but we have absolutely no idea really, truly what they're guilty of because we don't know what crime has been committed. But Trump actually mentioned the pardons and said, you know what, you know, they were accusing me as I was leaving, you know, the last time from the White House. They thought that I was going to pardon my whole family. And he goes, and I didn't, because just the optics of that, in essence, would make us look guilty for something that we did not do. And he also said at the press conference last night that he doesn't believe that he would have won re-election if he went ahead and pardoned his entire family. Well, Biden now has pardoned basically his entire family, with the exception of himself. And I think that Trump's speech was perfect. It was a great tone that he delivered it in. And it was also a speech of optimism. And that is what has been lacking in this country for 4 years, if not a little bit more, is that optimism, that renewed American spirit that we all have in us. But it's been weighed down by the policies of the Biden administration that have really not only nearly bankrupted our country financially, but also personally. We've seen personal wealth decline. We've seen wages decline under the Biden administration. We've seen, you know, our borders completely abandoned and wide open for anyone to take advantage of. And I think that just, as you said, that smile that I have, I've noticed just out and about in town and where I go and who I talk to, there is this sense of renewal. And I think we all are very optimistic and looking forward. And I'm really going to enjoy the next 4 years, especially just after yesterday and some of the quips and how President Trump has conducted himself, especially with the press.
Okay, just this is so interesting. I saw this morning. George W. Bush, President Bush, during his tenure, pardoned 200 people. President Obama pardoned during his tenure 1,927 people. Donald Trump, his first term and through yesterday, 1,737. And President Biden, since yesterday, at the end of the day, 8,064 pardons. I don't even know if that includes the dog that bit people. So, but there's a couple. I do want to come back to Fauci. I want your comments on that. But he did pardon all the members of the Select Committee, which included not only Liz Cheney and the Chairman Thompson, but also included Adam Schiff. Now, if I understand right, they get these pardons, but if they choose, they can reject them. But I don't suspect anybody's going to reject them. What's your take?
No, I haven't seen any rejections saying, oh, no, I did nothing wrong. No, but thank you for the pardon. I'm going to pass. I haven't seen that yet. Trump, during the press conference yesterday, called Adam Shifty Schiff a scum, and that's exactly what he is. He was the provocateur and the purveyor of fake news and a disinformation campaign against the former Trump administration. He was the one that, basically said that, the Russians, he had solid proof that he never presented to the American people that Trump was basically a puppet of Putin and conspired to, win the 2016 election. And, Adam Schiff is a scumbag. We've witnessed that firsthand. And Trump hit him right between the eyes, and that's exactly where he should be hit. But, this is, when it comes to Fauci's pardon, that's a whole nother interesting bag of worms, isn't it?
Yeah.
That goes all the way back to 2014. Now, isn't that curious? Not 2013, not 2015, 2014, and that's exactly when the gain-of-function research disaster started, and that's what gave us COVID. This engineered virus that brought our country to its knees and also stole an election. And also General Miley goes all the way back to 2014. Well, again, that goes directly back to the Ukrainian biolabs. And so, Fauci can still be tried in a court of law, but it has to be in state. It can't be federal court. And right now, Ron DeSantis is, investigating. The state of Florida is investigating Fauci. And that could happen. And I hope it does, because, this is not justice, what we witnessed from the Biden administration. This is outward corruption, and we all knew it. We were all talking about it, and we were told by the lapdogs in the mainstream media that we were conspiracy theorists, or we were racists, or, any ism you choose, we were labeled with Nazis. Keep it going. But nonetheless, we were right. 8,000 pardons.
8,000. 8,000.
And I would guarantee you, Perry, I would guarantee you that doesn't even scratch the surface of the corruption of this administration. And so that is why Trump is coming in with hundreds of executive orders to undo what he says the cancer that has metastasized throughout, not just the Biden administration, but also the Obama administration, the Clinton administration, but specifically the Biden administration of the last 4 years. You had an administrative state, you had unelected bureaucrats making decisions, executive decisions that impacted negatively this country and the people of this country. And so I don't even think 8,000 pardons would scratch the surface. And that's why these executive orders of Trump dismantling the administrative state, otherwise known as the deep state, are so critical.
Okay. A preemptive pardon does not preclude and protect from the Fifth Amendment or from subpoenas, correct?
Correct.
So they could be called into court to testify. They can't hide behind the Fifth. I realize they can't be prosecuted, but isn't there some value of going after Adam Schiff to have him talk and just kind of dig his own hole reputation-wise?
Absolutely. And that's really what I'm hoping will happen, because, they cannot lie under oath. And, everyone has, well, outside of the J6 committee documents, because those were all destroyed. How convenient is that? But there, those on those committees, whether it's the Intelligence Committee or what have you, I say should grill every single, Liz Cheney, every single person on that J6 committee should be grilled in front of the public at one of those committees on the record. And sunlight, as we always say in journalism, or at least those that are honest in journalism, sunlight is the best disinfectant. So there needs to be sunlight. There needs to be the exposure of these bad actors who worked against the American people, and specifically Republicans, during their tenure or during that time. And they need to be paraded in front of the cameras and grilled for hours, because you can only lie for so long. When you lie and you are accustomed to lying, you forget what you said because you're not saying the truth. So you have to remember all of the stories you've told to the mainstream media over your tenure. You have to remember all the lies that you told the American people and be able to continually repeat those lies. It will not withstand the test of time, and it certainly, those lies will not withstand the sunlight that our Congress and our elected representatives can bring to this dark chapter under the Biden administration in American history.
All right. So President Biden has given the Select Committee preemptive pardons. In the meantime, President Trump issued several hundred pardons to January 6th, quote, nonviolent people who were jailed. I was kind of curious, do you think the left actually thought that they would be in jail forever and never get a chance to talk? I mean, they're going to come out of jail now and they're going to talk like canaries. I mean, they're just going to go crazy. They're going to be interviewed all over the place.
Yes. I think the left did exactly believe that they would be relegated and held without appropriate due process in the bowels of a DC jail, which is known for its abusive practices, and not only physical abusive practices, but constitutional abusive practices. And that's where more sunlight is needed, because from what I'm reading today, this morning, I went to bed last night thinking these prisoners were finally going to be, these political prisoners were finally going to be freed. And I woke up this morning to learn that only maybe a handful out of those hundreds that he pardoned have been let go. But yes, I believe that the left believed that they had solidified their power, and they solidified it to eternity. They believed that they had, and they did. I mean, quite frankly, they had the mainstream media on their side. They had the Justice Department on their side. They had absolutely, like a cancer, metastasized themselves in all aspects of government, created an enemies list, took in political prisoners. I mean, this is what we read about in banana republics. This is what happens in third world dictatorships. But this is how authoritarians, communists, Marxists that have infiltrated the federal government through the Democratic Party have operated for longer than I've been on this earth. And so, yes, I do believe that the left believed their own BS. I believe that they thought they could get away with it because they were controlling all powers of the apparatchik. And they lost. They lost this election, and that's the only saving grace, by the grace of God, that this country was saved from the clutches of the radical, and I don't even like the word radical, the communist left. And I've called them the communist left for as long as I've been talking politics, since 2008. Finally, Trump started calling them for exactly what they were communists and Marxists. And he started that maybe last year on the campaign trail. And he's identified the enemy. The enemy is within, and now he's eradicating him.
All right, let me do a quick break. Megan Barth's with us, got some great questions for her. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Always an honor to have with us Megan Barth. She's an independent journalist. She's an activist, and on top of so many things, and such a frontline warrior in so many ways. So she's been with us quite a few years, you know.
I have.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's been 6, 7, 8.
I don't know. Yeah. we won't go there, but it's been quite a while.
I was just 20 years old. We started this gig.
Okay, there we go. Megan, of all of there were so many EOs yesterday, executive orders, they were flying off the table. But a couple of them kind of grabbed me, and one was getting out of the Paris Peace Accord, or Climate Accord, excuse me, and then the Health Organization.
World Health Organization.
WHO. And I'm going, gosh, those two alone, they're saying it could be trillions of dollars of savings. This is a huge deal I mean, that's got to shake both those organizations up, don't you think?
Finally. And speaking of communists, it's a good segue. A communist revolutionary actually heads the World Health Organization. No thanks.
Yeah.
We're going to take a step back, and we were one of the largest contributors to that organization, and they work against our sovereignty, and they work against our freedoms, and they work against our personal interests. I don't need an international body making health decisions. You know, I think in the Paris Climate Accord, that's just a complete embezzlement boondoggle. As Trump said yesterday, kind of an off-the-cuff remark, China is the biggest and largest world's polluter, and they're not part of this. And yet, you know, their pollution is coming across the ocean and polluting our own air. So why are we paying billions of dollars, you know, in this slush fund so that dictators around the world can operate with impunity? And that's exactly what the Biden administration granted dictators around the world is to operate with impunity. No more. Done. Done as of yesterday at noon. And I think one of the most important aspects that people may not understand is how energy really is tied into our independence, and renaming the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America, which allows us to drill, opening up those leases that Biden closed as far as oil and gas exploration on our own shores, opening up ANWR. We are the richest world in oil production, but we've never tapped it. The left has made sure that we were reliant on tin pot dictators around the world, like in Venezuela, for example, and Maduro, in order to, make sure that they were in control of our energy sovereignty. And our energy sovereignty is so critical for our own, in order to bring down costs, right? That's going to immediately bring down costs if we become energy independent. And Trump made one comment yesterday that maybe was missed, but he talked about Venezuela specifically and why energy production and our oil reserves and our oil production is so important, because we don't have to rely on Venezuela anymore. And once we don't rely on Venezuela anymore, what is the communist dictator Maduro going to do with his oil? We're not going to buy it anymore. We don't have to buy it anymore. Trump specifically said we don't need to buy Venezuela's oil. We got plenty here. So when you talk about the rebirth of America comes through many different facets, but one of the main ones is our energy sovereignty.
Megan, up till about a month ago, was Panama ever in your discussion?
It wasn't, and that's why I love Trump, right? Because first of all, he's a businessman. He understands how deals are done, but then he surrounds himself with people much smarter than he is. But I had completely forgotten that we sold the Panama Canal under Jimmy Carter, for like $1, like nothing. And now China has basically taken it over, and we're treated like the bad stepchildren when we actually sacrifice lives and tens of millions of dollars to build this canal for trade. So yeah, I'm looking forward to what this Panama Canal deal is going to look like and how Trump is going to reclaim what was ours to begin with.
Gulf of America?
What's that?
The Gulf of America.
Yeah, that's great. And Ron DeSantis has already used that in a proclamation. Ron DeSantis already put that on his letterhead, referring to, I can't remember what they were going to be doing in the legislature in Florida, but you referred to it as the Gulf of America. I'm even calling it the Gulf of America, and it's only been like 24 hours.
Where was Greenland on your radar screen a month ago?
I didn't. I guess it's not green, which I've seen some pictures coming over from over there. It looks very cold. It looks like Iceland. Yeah. But no, Greenland is a very strategic move. And this shows you how Trump is actually playing chess and everyone else is playing checkers, especially when it comes to the Democrats who are shrieking about 96 different genders. Thank God that's gone. That isn't actually now. We've got 2 genders, as we've always had since the beginning of time, until the Democrats took power. But no, Greenland is so incredibly important as far as our national security. The location, the Dutch don't necessarily, they don't want to be owned by the Dutch. What are the Dutch going to do when it comes to World War III? What do they got? So no, it's a very strategic move by the Trump administration for our national security. And again, I'll be looking forward to that conversation.
Does it become a territory or a lot line adjustment to Maine?
That last part again?
Does it become a territory or a lot line adjustment to Maine?
I was listening to Trump very closely, and he said, some things that if you weren't paying attention, right, or weren't listening that closely, you might have missed. And it was how he was going to expand our region, expand our borders.
Yeah, so that could be a lot line adjustment to Maine.
Could be a lot line adjustment.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Wow. Okay, so we're off and rolling. Let me ask you this. Do you think the leftover press will ever catch up with what's going on now?
You know, you always have to hit people in the pocketbook to get their attention and bring them to their knees and make them heal. And when you look at the bottom line of CNN, they're bleeding money. I mean, there's even talk about Elon Musk buying CNN or MSNBC. The mainstream media is dying. As you know, Elon Musk says, and thank God he bought Twitter, we are the media now. Every single person with an X account is the media now. And I've always said, you know, some of my best stories over the years have come from my neighbors, have come from just general people in the community that I've never met. They become sources. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, as long as we have that, and Andrew Breitbart also used to talk about that quite a bit. But this was, you know, at the advent of Twitter, you know, 15 years ago and prior to his death, you know, Twitter was just kind of another social media site. Now, with Elon's acquisition and rebranding it to X, the power of the media has been stripped. People are getting their news from a variety of sources, but the #1 news source, according to the latest figures, is X, formerly known as Twitter. And I think that's just a testament to how powerful the individual is and how much power, you know, you have just like right in your palm and your phone.
I got less than a minute. Let me squeeze this question in. It looks like Musk's going to be the only one left running DOGE as Ramaswamy goes off and runs for Ohio governor. What's your take?
Well, one of his first acts under Doge was he eliminated like the Office of Equity and Diversity, blah, blah, blah. That was the first thing. That whole website was taken down. The whole department was eliminated. And this infection, this cancer, as Trump says, this DEI, which I call die, is slowly being dismantled. And with that first step that Elon Musk made of eliminating that department, and there's thousands of departments like it with thousands of employees who have milked the American taxpayer for far too long, is coming to an end. I care that he acts quickly, but he's obviously acting very judiciously and prudiciously. And I have full faith and confidence in that Doge. You know, we could save $1 trillion, $2 trillion. We'll see.
Yeah. Hey, good to see you. Keep us posted on what you're doing. And let me say to our viewers and listeners, we have had this great opportunity with Megan all these years and look forward to many in the future. This is going to be an exciting 100 days as we tune in to see what Megan has to say.
Well, speaking of social media and X, everyone can follow me at Reagan Babe.
Okay. So it will be, Megan Moments. That's what we'll call it. Okay.
Okay.